The golden sunset stretched across the quiet countryside like a promise waiting to be kept. Wind moved gently through endless fields of tall grass, whispering stories of time, heartbreak, and healing. Emma Carter stood alone beside the old wooden fence, her fingers lightly tracing the faded initials carved years ago. E+D. Her late husband Daniel had carved them there the summer they first bought the ranch, when everything still felt possible, when love felt permanent. Now, only silence answered her. The ranch once echoed with laughter, footsteps, and the sound of horses galloping across open land. Now it carried only memories, and the quiet voice of doubt asking how long she could hold on. Behind her, the old farmhouse creaked gently in the evening breeze. Inside, her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, carefully folded the same worn blanket she had slept with since her father passed away 2 years earlier. Emma wiped a tear quickly before Lily could see it. She had promised her daughter everything would be all right. But promises sometimes felt heavier than truth. The bank letter still sat unopened on the kitchen table. Final notice. If she didn't find a way to save the ranch soon, she would lose the last piece of the life she had built with Daniel. Emma took a deep breath and whispered softly into the fading light. I don't know what to do anymore. She didn't know. Someone was already on his way. Someone who needed this ranch just as much as she did. Someone hiding a truth that could change everything. Emma Carter was known in the small town of Willow Creek as the kindest woman anyone had ever met. She never asked for help. She never complained. Even when grief pressed heavily on her heart, she still greeted neighbors with a gentle smile. But life after loss was not a simple story. The ranch needed repairs. Bills kept growing. And Lily needed stability. Emma worked long days caring for horses, fixing broken fences, and baking pies she sold at the local cafe just to keep things afloat. Every night, she sat by the window looking at the fields Daniel loved so much. Sometimes she imagined hearing his voice telling her not to give up. But hope felt fragile, especially when the past kept reminding her of everything she had lost. The next morning, rain began to fall gently over Willow Creek. Emma struggled to secure loose wood near the barn when the sound of a car engine broke the quiet rhythm of the countryside. A sleek black vehicle slowly approached the dusty driveway, completely out of place in this peaceful town. The driver stepped out, tall, well-dressed, quiet confidence in the way he moved. But something about his expression seemed distant, almost tired. He removed his coat carefully, revealing simple clothing underneath, as if trying not to appear out of place. Miss Carter? He asked politely. Emma nodded cautiously. Yes, can I help you? My name is James Whitmore. His voice was calm, respectful, warm in a quiet way. I was wondering if you might consider renting part of your ranch, temporarily. Emma blinked in surprise. Renting? James glanced toward the fields as if the land itself held meaning. I need somewhere peaceful, somewhere private. Emma hesitated. She didn't usually trust strangers easily, but something in his eyes felt familiar. Lonely, like someone searching for something he couldn't explain. This place isn't fancy, she said honestly. I'm not looking for fancy, he replied softly. I'm looking for quiet. Lily peeked from behind the barn door, watching curiously. James noticed her and offered a gentle smile. Her shy wave was the first sign that perhaps this stranger wasn't a threat. After a moment, Emma agreed to show him the small guest cottage near the horse stables. It wasn't much, but sometimes the simplest places held the deepest healing. James Whitmore was not just a traveller. He was one of the youngest CEOs in London, owner of Whitmore Developments, a powerful company known for transforming rural land into luxury resorts. His investors expected him to secure Willow Creek Ranch for a future project, but James never believed the reports, describing the property as emotionally insignificant farmland. From the moment he stepped onto the land, something changed. He saw memories here, love, history, family. He couldn't understand why the idea of turning this place into a luxury hotel suddenly felt wrong. So he made a decision. He would stay quietly, learn the truth, and decide for himself. Without Emma knowing who he really was, days passed slowly. James helped repair fences, fed horses, learned how to saddle properly after Lily laughed at his first attempt. Emma watched him carefully at first. City people didn't usually last long on a working ranch. But James surprised her. He listened. He respected the land. He never acted superior. One evening, they sat on the wooden porch watching fireflies glow softly in the twilight. "You've lived here long?" James asked. 10 years, Emma replied gently. "My husband and I bought it when Lily was just a baby." James noticed the softness in her voice when she spoke about Daniel. "You still talk about him like he's here," he observed quietly. Emma looked at the fading sunset. Love doesn't disappear just because someone leaves this world. James nodded slowly. He understood loss more than most people knew. His father built Whitmore Developments from nothing. But after his passing, James inherited more pressure than guidance. Success felt empty without someone to share it with. That night, Lily fell asleep on the porch between them, wrapped in a warm blanket. Emma smiled softly. "This place heals people." James looked across the fields glowing under moonlight. "Yes, I think it does." Autumn painted the ranch in warm golden colors. Emma and James began sharing quiet routines. Morning coffee. Repairing fences together. Talking about dreams they once had but never spoke aloud. James admired Emma's strength. Emma admired James's kindness. One rainy afternoon, Lily insisted James join them for baking. Flour covered the kitchen table. Laughter filled the room. For the first time in years, Emma laughed without guilt. James noticed the way her eyes sparkled when she forgot to feel sad. Later that evening, he found an old photo of Emma and Daniel on the mantel. Emma noticed his gaze. "He was a good man," she said softly. "I'm sure he was," James replied. "You loved him very much." Emma nodded. "I still do." James didn't know why hearing that hurt, but it did. Because somewhere between fixing fences and watching sunsets, he had fallen in love with a woman whose heart still belonged. Partly to the past point one afternoon, Emma visited the town bank. She returned home pale and quiet. James noticed immediately. "What happened?" Emma hesitated before answering. "The ranch might be sold." James felt his chest tighten. "The bank says a development company is interested." James's silence spoke louder than words. He knew the company. It was his company. His investors had already begun paperwork without telling him. Emma looked away, trying to stay strong. "I don't know how much longer I can keep this place." James wanted to tell her everything, but fear stopped him. Fear that she would never forgive him. Fear that she would see him as the enemy. So he stayed silent. And silence sometimes creates deeper wounds than truth. Days later, Emma discovered a business document accidentally left inside James's coat pocket. Whitmore Developments. Property Acquisition Plan. Willow Creek Ranch. Her hands trembled. Everything suddenly made sense. The expensive car. His knowledge of business. The secrecy. When James returned that evening, Emma stood waiting near the barn. Her eyes filled with quiet hurt. "You came here to take my home," she whispered. James's heart broke hearing the pain in her voice. "I never wanted to hurt you." "But you lied." "I didn't know how to tell you." Emma shook her head. "You should have told me the truth from the beginning." Lily watched from the porch, confused by the tension. James stepped forward. "I care about this place. And I care about you." Emma's voice trembled. Was any of this real? James didn't hesitate. Every moment. But trust once broken takes time to heal. Emma asked him to leave. And just like that, the ranch felt empty again. Winter arrived early that year. Snow covered the fields where laughter once lived. Emma tried to stay strong for Lily. But losing James felt like losing hope all over again. Because for the first time since Daniel's passing, she had allowed herself to imagine a future. Meanwhile, James returned to London feeling more lost than ever. Success felt meaningless knowing he had hurt the one person who reminded him what truly mattered. His investors pushed him to finalize the purchase. But James couldn't do it. Because the ranch wasn't just land. It was Emma's heart. And somehow, his too. James made a decision that shocked everyone. He cancelled the development project, sold part of his company shares, and returned to Willow Creek quietly, not as a CEO, but as a man asking for forgiveness. He found Emma repairing the same fence where they first met. She looked surprised and guarded. "I came back to make things right," he said gently. "You don't have to forgive me." "But I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try." Emma listened silently. "I've transferred the ranch ownership fully to you." Her eyes widened. "You, what?" "No contracts. No conditions." Emma's voice shook. "Why would you do that?" James smiled softly. "Because some places are too special to lose. And some people are worth everything." Tears filled Emma's eyes. "You hurt me." "I know." "You lied." "I know." James stepped closer. "But loving you was never a lie." The winter wind moved softly between them. Emma realized something important. Loving again didn't mean forgetting Daniel. It meant allowing her heart to grow. Daniel gave her a beautiful past. James offered a hopeful future. Lily ran toward them, wrapping her arms around James happily. "Are you staying?" James looked at Emma. "Only if your mum lets me." Emma laughed softly through tears. "I think we could try again." James's smile returned. Brighter than ever, spring arrived with gentle warmth. The ranch flourished again. James didn't return to corporate life full-time. Instead, he invested in preserving small family farms. Emma continued running the ranch with new hope. And Lily finally saw her mother smile every single day. One evening, under the same golden sunset where the story began, James knelt beside the wooden fence. "Emma Carter, will you marry me?" Emma laughed softly. "I thought you'd never ask." The wind carried the sound of happiness across Willow Creek. Love didn't replace the past. It honored it and built something beautiful beyond it. Sometimes life takes everything away, only to give something even more meaningful in return. Because love always finds its way home. That if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to Heartlight Cinema for more emotional love stories. Tell us in comments, do you believe in second chances in love?